Hey guys, welcome to chapter 5, our last chapter for semester 1. So this one, we are going to start with the definition of the composite function, okay? Given two functions, f and g, the composite function denoted by, let me get a yellow highlighter, denoted by f bubble, okay? It's not a multiplication. I want you guys to be very clear. It's like a bubble. It looks like a degree symbol. So f bubble g, read as f composed with g, is, so f bubble g of x, okay? This right here is not a multiplication of x, is read of x, is equals to, it equals to f, again, this is not a multiplication, this is a composition, okay? So f compose with g of x, okay? So what we're doing is x is the input of g. Then g of x is the input of x. So that's what you are doing when you're composing two functions together. You're taking the g function and you're going to put it into f. The domain of f composed with g is the set of all numbers in the domain of g such that g of x is in the domain of f, okay? So that's really fancy for saying that the domain of the final answer, which is the composition of f of g of x, is the domain of where they both overlap, okay? Which we have seen this before. It's exactly the same way that we would find the domain of a division of two functions, a multiplication of two functions, an addition of two functions, and so on, okay? Example 1. Evaluate 1i, okay? So let's do B first. Let's do A first. So 1i says you are asked to do f composed with f of negative 2. By definition, this is this is g of f of negative 2. So we're composing g of f of negative 2, okay? So what you need to do first, you have to do this first, okay? So the first thing is f of negative 2. Here's the f function. The input is negative 2. That means the output is 3. So what do you do now? Well, now you take g of 3, okay? Whatever the output is for f of negative 2, you are now going to put it in here. So now let's look at the g function right here. When g is 3, the output is 1, okay? So what we do now is we're just going to write an answer. So our final answer, g composed with f of negative 2 is 1. Okay, and that's how we do it. We do one at a time. So we do the inner component first. 2i, it is asking for us to f compose with g of 0. So by definition, we're going to do f of g of 0. So you do this first, okay? So first step, you do g of 0. So you're going to go to g function and find input is 0. When the input is 0, the output is 2. So that's the output is 2. Then the second step, okay, we are going to do f of 2. Okay, so this number goes here now. Now go to f function and find 2 for the input. Okay, when the input is 2, the output is negative 3. So the final answer for the composition of f composed with g of 0 is negative 3. Next, we're going to do 3i's. F composed with f of negative 1. Okay, so what we are going to do is, this is by definition, it's f of negative 1. So I have to look at f on both the inner component as well as the outer, okay? So go to f. When the input is negative 1, right there, the output is 1. So that's our first thing to do. Then since this is 1, now we go do f of 1. Again, go to the f function and find the input is 1. That means output is -1. So my final answer is -1. For i's, it is asking for you to do g of g of -3. Oops, why am I writing radical of -3? Of -3. So by definition is g of -3. So do that first, okay? Go to g, find the input. The input is -3, the output is 1. So this right here, y'all, is 1, okay? Now next, you have to do this outer component. So g of 1, okay? Now let's go back to the g function. Erase all the stuff that I marked. G of 1, let's go. That's -3, that's -1, that's 0, that's 2, that's 3. Oh my, G function does not have -1 for an input. Whoa, what? So that means there is no solution, okay? So this is undefined or no solution, whatever you want to call it. So that's how we do composition if they give you a set of ordered pairs. Now, what if they give you functions, okay? And same thing. So we're going to start with 1i. 1i says you're doing g of f of -2. So by definition, just like earlier, this is really g of f of -2. So you have to go to -2 on the f function first. F function is this red function right here. So find -2, -1, -2. What? F is not over there? How could that be? So guess what? Right away, right off the bat, you have no answer for 1i because the f function does not have a -2, okay, in its input. Move on to 2i's. 2i says f composed with g of 0. So by definition, f of g of 0. So you're going to do the inner component first. Go find 0. 0 is right here, okay? So the g is the green function. So g of 0 is 1. Now you have to do the outer component, okay? Put 1 in here. So now go to the red function because it's talking about f of 1. Here's 1 for f. This dot right here is about what? -1. So your answer is -1. 3i's. F composed with itself of -1. So similarly, I'm just going to go to -1. But what? What? F doesn't have any value of -1? No answer. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Haha. Okay. Next, G composed itself of -3. So by definition, this is G of -3. Okay. So we're going to look at G of -3 first. So when G is -3, -1, -2, -3, go up, go over to see what the output is. The output is 3. So now I would need to go, well, this whole thing is 3. I still need to do the outer component. So G of 3 is, so now you are going to go to the right side. 1, 2, and 3. Go up as best as we can to see what the output is. So the output is, according to my approximation, it looks about 4, okay? So the final answer is 4. So, class, that is how we find the composition if they give you a set of ordered pairs, which is like example A, or a function of in terms of graph, like example B. This is the end of our notes.